Unfiltered podcast, dated August 15th, 2023. We are inching closer to the start of football, both NFL and college. College first, actually, but NFL too. Today's focus on the podcast will be on the NFL, of course. And today's topic really is basically, it's simple. It's about Dalvin Cook. He's made a decision. He's going to be a member of the New York Jets. He's signed a 1 year, I believe, $8 million, $8.5 million to go to the New York Jets. So I think the conversation really is going to start here. And it's going to pretty much be the be-all end of this conversation. Does this signing of Dalvin Cook move the needle for the Jets in the division, possibly the AFC favorites? And I asked the question because, as you guys know, and we're going to be doing, leading up to the season on the Earnest EJ podcast, the regular podcast on the main feed. We're going to be doing a season preview, I believe next week, with Chris and Zach, and we're going to discuss exactly all these teams line up because on paper, this is the deepest conference I think we've ever seen. And not only that division, the AFC East, where the Jets, live in, is on paper probably the best, if not second best division in football. I would say the AFC North is the only other division that has a conversation to be made with that one. But neither here nor there. So the Jets have been the team of the offseason, of course. Obviously trading for Aaron Rodgers. Last year, they went 7-10. They were in the mix of a playoff spot before they faded out late in the year. But he also had the worst quarterback situation in football. All right, but their defense is young and hungry. They have a lot of talent. They're pretty well coached. Robert Saleh is pretty good, although I would say he's a bit of I don't want to say a hot seat, but it's definitely some pressure this year. When you get Aaron Rodgers, certainly that adds a little more pressure to your job, and certainly you add now Dalvin Cook as your running back, alongside Breece Hall as well too. So the Jets, talent wise, are high to powers. If you're saying Aaron Rodgers is going to be close to where he was 2 years ago as back-to-back MVP winner, you have to put this team in the conversation as one of the favorites in the AFC. Are they favorites in the AFC? I don't know. Are they favorites in the AFC East? I don't know. So the question is going to be now, excuse me, does this move the needle? It has to some degree, but this is what I'm going to say. And I think this is something that many people who follow the Jets and people who know football will tell you this too also. The bigger question mark for the Jets going forward is the offensive line. If the offensive line's a problem, it's not going to matter how good Aaron Rodgers is anymore, or how good, Dalvin Cook's going to be this year. That O-line ultimately is going to be the thing that makes or breaks the season. And that O-line was not really good last year. I mean, I know, look, again, we shit on the quarterback play last year, but the truth is that when in concert, the O-line not playing well either. Now, if we had to believe the offensive line is at the very least above average, or average, then we can have a conversation about this team being moving the needle. Because I have question marks about, okay, forget the conference. Let's start first. Let's start simple. AFC East. The teams in the division, of course, the Buffalo Bills, who are obviously the favorites to win the division again, I think for the third or fourth straight year. Obviously, Miami Dolphins are going to come up as well, too, but they have question marks with their quarterback situation. And Tua Tagovailoa, if he's healthy, they're obviously really, really, really good. If he's not healthy, it's another discussion. The Patriots are always pesky. Bill Belichick-led team. Always going to be in the conversation to win at least 7, 8, 9, 10 games a year, depending on how things shape out. Which is why I said the AFC East is probably the best division in football, next to the AFC North, maybe. So any moves these teams make moving forward, specifically Miami and Buffalo, and of course the Jets, they make, it does move a needle. Any subtle moves. This is not Dalvin Cook's not a subtle move. Dalvin Cook, when healthy, is one of the five best running backs in football. They just couldn't agree to a deal in Minnesota. Him and Minnesota can agree to a contract, which we've seen with all the quarterbacks in football. Look at Saquon Barkley, best running back in football. Couldn't get a long-term deal in New York. He has a short, a 1-year deal. So it follows the pattern of also for Dalvin Cook as well too. So the needle does move it does move if that offensive line is at least average to above average. Then we have a conversation, because here's the case I have for the Jets to win the division this year. Miami's really good, but Miami, obviously, Tua, I have to say it, and I guess it does sound very asshole for me to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The likelihood of him getting hurt this year for a few games is, I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty high, given his history, not just in the NFL, but also in college. So because of that, that gives the Jets an advantage there. Okay? Obviously, New England, not as good as these three teams. So I'm not going to put them in the conversation, but the Pats will always be a team that's going to give you hell because of who they are. The Buffalo Bills, that's the big question. I've said all offseason long that the Bills did not get better this offseason. Okay? I spoke to Bills fans, friends of mine who are Bills fans as well too. They've said the same thing too, that their schedule, number one, concerning. And number two, the fact that they did not, as a roster, get any better does leave some concern on this team. Now, they're still a really good team. Josh Allen is still a top 3 quarterback in the league, in my opinion. But it does go to ask, a move like this, where, for example, and obviously we'll attack this on the Earnest podcast next week if we do the season preview. Over on numbers, Buffalo's at 10.5 wins. The Jets are 9.5 wins. One game apart. These two teams play twice, of course. That it stands to reason that a move like this can tilt the conversation into Jets' favor. Again, Buffalo didn't get better. But does that mean they're going to be worse? That's the question. So, I think this move does move the needle to some degree. I think the big question mark for the Jets is the offensive line. And if the offensive line does play well, and it does do enough to protect Rodgers and enough to open holes for both Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall, who's been cleared now after his injury last year, I think the Jets might be the favorite in the AFC East. We'll see. As for them and how do they measure up in the AFC itself, obviously the two best teams in the conference, I would say I'm obviously picking Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, of course. That's a wait and see situation, because I don't even think Buffalo is as good as those teams at this point. Even though Buffalo's played competitively against mainly KC, but they got blown the doors off against the Bengals at home last year in the playoffs. Now, some people can say that's because a lot of it had a lot to do with the almost tragic injury to Damar Hamlin, and that play a part in the way they played down the stretch. But also, to be honest, they were not playing that well anyway down the stretch anyway. But I will still put the Jets right now as definitely. Look, this move here, I believe, in my opinion, solidifies a wild card spot for them. Does it make them an AFC East favorite? It's possible. I'm not going to go there yet. I definitely say I would say it would put them ahead of Miami right now. I'm comfortable saying that. Give it all the question marks to Miami. In terms of Buffalo, we shall see. And we're going to know right off the bat because they play week 1. Bills, Jets, week 1. I know people give me crap for saying this about, how I've been saying it's a must-win for the Jets and the Bills. Again, look at those schedules. You'll know why I keep saying must-win for both those teams out the chute. So we'll know sooner or later. But I think the Jets, this move does move the needle to an extent as long as the offensive line plays well. And that's all I'll say about that. So anyway, that's it for me. I'm Earnest Christian. And we will talk soon. And until the next one. Later.